Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an honor to be with you all here tonight. Thank you so much. Please join me in welcoming to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for the second time, Stevie Nicks.
When it comes to rock and roll, few names shine as brightly as Stevie Nicks. With the singer's captivating voice, fearless style, and undeniable talent, Nicks has become a legend in her own right. As both a member of Fleetwood Mac and a solo artist, Nicks carved out one of the most iconic careers in rock history. The star has crafted some of rock's most unforgettable albums, earned 8 Grammy nominations, and made history as the first woman to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, not once, but twice.
For this being the first girl in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice.
But here's where it gets really interesting. What if I told you that despite her legendary career, the singer-songwriter might be just as famous for her love life, a roller coaster of passion, drama, and heartbreak that's as captivating as her greatest hits. And in this video, we're peeling back the curtain on the romantic chaos that made headlines and turned Stevie Nicks into a true rock and roll legend. Nicks was born as Stephanie Lynn Nicks on May 26, 1948, in Phoenix, Arizona. From a young age, Stevie's life was anything but ordinary. The future star's unique nickname, Stevie, came from her own early attempts to pronounce Stephanie, which sounded more like TD to her family, and the name just stuck. Nicks grew up in a close-knit family with her parents, Barbara and Jess, and her younger brother, Christopher. One of the most significant influences in Nicks' early life was her paternal grandfather, Aaron Nicks, who had dreams of becoming a country music star. Aaron saw something special in his granddaughter and encouraged young Nicks' musical talents from the start. He even handcrafted a guitar for the future singer and taught her classic country songs. By the time Nicks was just 5 years old, the young singer was already performing with her grandfather at local bars and clubs, soaking in the world of music. As Nicks' father's career progressed, the family moved frequently, living in different states like Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Utah, and California. This constant relocating could have been challenging, but it also exposed the singer to a variety of environments and cultures, shaping her eclectic style and worldview. Despite the frequent moves, music remained a constant in Nicks' life. In 1963, the Nicks family finally settled in the suburbs of Los Angeles, where Stevie enrolled at Arcadia High School. It was here that the young talent met her best friend Robin and joined a band called Changing Times. This group was modeled after the Mamas and the Papas, which was a popular folk rock band at the time. However, Nicks' time with the band was short-lived as her family moved again, this time to Palo Alto, California. It was at Menlo Atherton High School in Palo Alto that Nicks' life would take a crucial turn. Firstly, because it was here that she found the first love of her life. And secondly, that love would form the foundation of her rise to stardom. In Menlo Atherton, Nicks met Lindsey Buckingham, a fellow student and talented guitarist. The two quickly became close, bonding over their shared love for music. They began playing and writing songs together, and eventually their friendship and shared love for music would lead them to kick off a romantic relationship. During the mid-1960s, Buckingham became part of a psychedelic rock band called Fritz. However, it was in 1967 that things took an interesting turn. At the time, 2 of Fritz's members were leaving for college, and the band needed a new lead singer. With that, Buckingham, who was already a talented guitarist, thought of someone he had a connection with from high school. That someone was his high school sweetheart, Stevie Nicks. He asked Nicks to join Fritz, and that decision would set the stage for one of the most iconic musical partnerships of all time. Nicks and Buckingham quickly became the heart of Fritz, with the singer's unique voice and Buckingham's guitar skills complementing each other perfectly. The band started gaining traction, eventually landing some impressive gigs. From 1968 to 1970, Fritz opened for legendary acts like Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin. For Nicks, watching Hendrix and Joplin command the stage inspired her own performance style and gave her the intensity and charisma that would later define her career. Despite the excitement of opening for such big names, Fritz was still a local band struggling to break into the mainstream. As the 1970s rolled in, it became clear that the band wasn't going to make it big. With that, Fritz eventually disbanded in 1972, but by then, the bond between Nicks and Buckingham had solidified, both musically and romantically. After Fritz ended, the pair decided to continue making music together as a duo. They spent hours writing songs and recording demos, often working late into the night on a 1-inch 4-track Ampex tape machine that the guitarist kept at his father's coffee roasting plant in Daly City, California. Their hard work eventually paid off when they landed a deal with Polydor Records and released their debut album, Buckingham Nicks, in 1973. However, the duo's dreams didn't turn out as they had hoped. Buckingham Nicks didn't catch on with the public, and the album was a commercial flop. As a result, Polydor Records dropped them, leaving Nicks and Buckingham without a record deal and struggling financially. To make ends meet, Nicks took on various odd jobs, including waiting tables and cleaning houses. During this time, the couple moved in with producer Keith Olsen and later with Richard Dashut, another producer who would become crucial in their careers. The duo's break came when Keith Olsen played the track Frozen Love from their Buckingham Nicks album for Mick Fleetwood, the drummer of Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood was impressed with Buckingham's guitar work, and when Fleetwood Mac's guitarist Bob Welch left the band in late 1974, Fleetwood reached out to the guitarist with an offer to join the band. However, Buckingham had one condition: he wouldn't join without his girlfriend Nicks. Mick Fleetwood and the rest of the band agreed, and on December 31st, 1974, the couple officially became members of Fleetwood Mac. This move marked the beginning of a new era for the band, as it transformed them from a regular British blues rock group into one of the most successful rock bands in history. Unfortunately, success and the fame that comes with it comes with a price, and in this case, the price was the couple's relationship. Nicks and Buckingham's time with Fleetwood Mac would become legendary, but it was also a period of intense personal and professional ups and downs. Their romantic relationship became increasingly strained as they navigated the pressures of fame, but their musical partnership only grew stronger, leading to some of the most memorable music of the 1970s. Songs like Rhiannon, Landslide, and later Go Your Own Way and Dreams captured the highs and lows of their relationship. Nick's relationship with Buckingham might have ended, but the singer's chaotic trail of relationships was only just beginning. After the split, the dynamics within Fleetwood Mac were already intense and emotionally charged. The band was in the midst of recording Rumors in 1977, an album that would become one of the best-selling records of all time. But behind the scenes, the members were all nursing their own heartbreaks. On one hand, the singer and her ex-boyfriend had just gone through a difficult breakup, and Mick Fleetwood, on the flip side, had recently remarried his wife Jenny Boyd after a brief divorce, only to face further marital challenges. During this time, something unexpected developed between Nicks and Fleetwood. Both were vulnerable and dealing with the fallout from their respective relationships. In the midst of promoting Rumors, the pair ended up having a brief affair. For Nicks, it was something that later filled her with regret. The vocalist never imagined she would get involved with Fleetwood, especially knowing that he was married and had a family she deeply cared about.
Ended up being the last two people at the party. And so guess what? It's not hard to figure out what happened. What happened wasn't a good thing. It was doomed.
As expected, the affair caused significant tension within the band. For one, Fleetwood's marriage was already on shaky ground, and the situation only made things more complicated. Nicks was also deeply conflicted because the songwriter genuinely loved Fleetwood's family and was horrified by the potential consequences of their actions. Eventually, the duo quickly realized that continuing the affair could have devastating effects, not only on the people around them, but also on the future of Fleetwood Mac. And with that, Nicks and Fleetwood made the difficult decision to end their relationship. Shortly after Nicks ended her fling with Fleetwood, the singer found herself entangled in another high-profile relationship, this time with Don Henley, one of the founding members of the Eagles. The duo's romance began in 1977, and it was as passionate as it was complicated. Henley, with his rock star charm and larger-than-life lifestyle, swept Nicks off her feet. But as exciting as it was, this relationship was far from simple. Henley introduced Nicks to a world of luxury and extravagance that was unlike anything the Arizona native had experienced before. At the time, the Eagles were already living the high life. complete with private jets and lavish accommodations, and Henley didn't hold back in sharing this lifestyle with Nicks. The two were known for their wild spending habits, with Nicks quickly adapting to the rock and roll life of Lear jets and presidential suites. The rock icon later admitted that Henley was the one who taught her the ropes when it came to living large, and once she got a taste of it, there was no going back. But despite the thrill and romance, the couple's relationship was messy and turbulent. The two singers were both at the height of their careers, dealing with the pressures of fame and the chaotic lifestyle that came with it. Soon enough, Nicks's spending habits grew out of control and muffed a pattern she would later regret. Beyond just the rock and roll excess, the relationship between Nicks and Henley had serious implications. During the couple's time together, Nicks had to terminate her pregnancy due to the intense demands of her career with Fleetwood Mac and her involvement with heavy substance use at the time. The songwriter believing that if she had chosen to have a child, it would have meant the end of her career with the band. Eventually, the couple's relationship began to fizzle out by 1978, but even after they parted ways, they managed to maintain a friendship. However, like in the rock star's past relationships, the duo's connection was immortalized in Nicks's music. Henley even contributed vocals to her song, Leather and Lace, a duet featured on her debut solo album, Belladonna, which was released in 1981. In the early 1980s, the Dream singer entered into a secret relationship with Jimmy Iovine, co-founder of Interscope Records, who was also producing Nicks' first solo album. The Phoenix-born producer had a clear vision for her album's sound and wanted it to echo the style of Tom Petty, so Nicks turned to Iovine, who was Petty's producer and a close friend. The pair's professional relationship quickly evolved into a romantic one, and before long, the couple were living together. Iovine was instrumental in launching Nicks's solo career, as the producer helped the singer create the distinct sound that set her apart as an individual artist. However, the duo's relationship came with its own set of challenges. To maintain his professional ties with Petty, Iovine often had to sneak Nicks into his basement whenever Petty visited, in order to ensure that their personal life didn't interfere with his work. Though their romance was relatively short-lived, their professional partnership continued for several years, leaving a lasting impact on Nicks's career. Unfortunately, after a separation from Iovine, the rock star experienced one of the most painful losses of her life that would eventually lead to her first and only marriage. What makes it even more chaotic is that said marriage barely lasted 3 months. In 1982, Nicks lost her best friend Robin Anderson to leukemia, and as a result, the singer found herself in a place of deep grief and confusion. Anderson's death left a void, especially with the responsibility of being the godmother to Anderson's newborn son. In the midst of this sorrow, Nicks made a decision that would shape her personal life in an unexpected way. She married Anderson's widower, Kim Anderson. This marriage was born out of a shared pain and a desperate attempt to keep a sense of family alive for Robin's baby. However, the singer later realized that their union was more about clinging to something familiar in a time of overwhelming loss. It wasn't long before they both understood that grief alone couldn't sustain a marriage, and with that, the pair separated just 3 months later. Even though their marriage ended quickly, Nicks stayed close to her godson, Matthew, ensuring that she remained a constant figure in his life. Over time, she also embraced her role as Grandma Stevie to Matthew's daughter, Robin, who was named after her grandmother, Robin Anderson. Shortly after her divorce, Nicks hit it off again, this time with Eagles guitarist Joe Walsh, who she later admitted was the greatest love of her life. Their connection was immediate and powerful, beginning with a chance meeting at the Mansions Hotel in Dallas. The Dream singer felt an undeniable pull toward Walsh, and the pair's relationship quickly blossomed into an intense romance.
You two became this couple, and she says you are the love of her life.
All those songs were about Joe?
Yeah.
She wrote one about me, yeah.
What was the big one about you?
I'm trying to I'm embarrassed. I don't
Was it a
remember.
Fleetwood Mac song, or was it from one of her solos?
One of her solos.
One of her solo albums?
Yeah.
The singer even contemplated marrying Walsh because she believed the guitarist complemented her in ways no one else ever had. However, their relationship was as toxic as it was passionate. Both Nicks and Walsh were struggling with substance abuse, and the very thing that brought them together also threatened to tear them apart. Realizing the destructive path they were on, the Eagles guitarist decided to distance himself from the singer. He left for Australia, believing that their relationship had become too dangerous, that one of them might not survive if they continued down that road. For Nicks, Walsh's departure was devastating. The rock star saw him as her greatest love, the one who understood her on a level no one else could. His absence left a lasting void, one that Nicks would carry with her long after their relationship ended. Even years later, she would reflect on their time together as something irreplaceable. After her intense relationship with Walsh ended, Stevie made a significant decision about her personal life. She chose not to pursue any further serious romances and resolved to remain unmarried. For the singer, the demands of her music career and the pressures of fame made it difficult to sustain a lasting relationship. And once the rock star came to terms with this, she never looked back.